Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a video for you where I'm going to disassemble and maintain this knife right here. This is the Null Knives Raiden, but really that's not what this video is about at all. This video is effectively a sound check, but also a little bit of a soliloquy. But I'm going to do, as I'm doing that, I want to check the, take this guy apart. I just got this guy from the factory, and so I want to make sure it's running as nice as it can be as it goes into the personal collection. So, anyways, the thing that is different about this video relative to any other video I have ever filmed is that every other video I've ever filmed has been filmed using an iPhone right up here. I have been an Apple person for a long time. I've had my, debates, and I've spent a lot of time in Linux as well on the side at various points in my life, but throughout most of my life I have been an Apple person, starting in Mac OS 6, way back when on a Performer. I mean, really, the only non-Apple computers I've ever spent time with was a self-build one in 2007 and a Performer. That is outside of a work context. I'm sorry, my personal life. And so Apple has been a company I've been a big fan of for a very long time. Unfortunately, modern Apple has gotten way too big for its britches and has sort of gone full shareholder at the cost of the consumer. This is a pattern that's been going on for a while, but it's just been bothering me more and more. And the main reason it's been bothering me is because I've been doing things that Apple doesn't want me to do, namely using other non-Apple devices, right? I mentioned in my Gear of the Year video that I have been using a framework laptop as well as a self-built PC for the bulk of my computing after my MacBook Air got exposed to some water and I wasn't able to clean it out because, of course, Apple doesn't build their products to be repairable. That's not how they make money. So I've been using Linux more and more as my daily operating system, and although there are lots of growing pains there, I'll freely admit that, and there's a lot that the Linux desktop still has to get right, it's been a rewarding experience. If nothing else, I've learned a great deal, and there's been a lot of, I don't know how to put it, but it feels nice to live in accordance with my open source ideals. By the way, I understand and acknowledge that for many knife folks, this isn't going to be a particularly interesting video or topic, but it is something that is a part of my everyday carry, right? So that's why I think it's relevant. That's why I'm bringing it up here. But anyways, so I have been an Apple person for a large part of my life, but recently, as I've done more and more things outside of their ecosystem, the limitations have become much stronger for me, and they're not just limitations in the sense of like, oh, well, Apple can't do these are things that are sort of hard-coded, and I bet if we had an Apple PR flag here, they would tell us exactly why. Oh my God, security, we can't do. But in practice, it just means that interoperability with other systems is a big problem. Why would you want to put music on your phone using any computer other than an Apple device or a Windows device, which is just as ugly to me? No, I'm sorry, absolutely not. So, so it's been very frustrating, right? And the fact is that the iPhone, although it served me very well for a long time, and I actually was an Android person way back when, in like 2009, 2010, something like that, Galaxy Nexus times. It's just been, it's been an element of my life that just works. But as I move more and more of my life away from the Apple ecosystem, I've noticed that fewer things just work, right? There is a lot of buy-in. There is a lot of forced, again, not forced, because that would be antitrusty. This is just like, oh, well, interoperability makes the world better. Basically, as you escape their walled garden, they start kicking you a little bit, right? They start doing things that make that harder and harder. And as a result, it's been very frustrating. And as a result, I've been looking for the exit hatch. I've been thinking to myself, if I'm serious about this, I can't keep using an iPhone. They're going to make it too hard for me to do so. And as a result, I've decided not to. And so, as an experiment, and this is an experiment, I still have the iPhone, etc., but I am trying an Android phone, and I went all out. I went with the Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'm a little bit reluctant to just exchange Apple for Google. I wish there were a true free and open source phone engine that made sense and was usable in daily life right now. But I decided to go with something that had a very different form factor that I'm used to, because that's itself appealing, right? I want to get something new and interesting out of it. And the folding form factor of the Z Fold is kind of appealing. But more importantly, I wanted the openness of it. And oh boy, I made this exchange about 20 hours ago, and you know what? In practice, I've been very impressed. A lot of the stuff, there have definitely been some hiccups, right? And it definitely doesn't, it's not as simple at any stage, right? iPhones are very, very good at making good decisions for you. But as somebody who really likes to customize his setups, that's actually a little frustrating in and of itself. Oh yeah, that's a little nicer. By the way, if you're curious about any of the tools I'm using, nickshabazz.com/tools has all of them, except the phone. That one's new. But anyways, I've been very, very impressed in a number of ways. I mean, the hardware itself is nice enough. It's kind of beefy, but at the same time, that's kind of what I signed up for, right? But the biggest thing that's actually been shocking to me, and this is shocking only in the sense of a person who's been in the dark for so long coming into the light, is the interoperability of everything. For instance, I use certain software to keep my different machines synced, and that works on my phone, but more importantly, it works on my phone in such a way that I can keep all of my music and my videos and movies and such in that service, and then I can just access them through apps on the phone without having to do elaborate, I had forgotten just how good it is to have general purpose file system access on a phone. That's a beautiful thing, and Termux allows me to use some of the Unix stuff that I'm used to. It's just, there have been a lot of really, really nice things so far. I'm very curious how the audio and the video are going to turn out here. That's the thing that's very, very scary to me, honestly. Watching this, I will be watching this video with bated breath because I'm very curious how that's going to go. But for the moment, my first 24-hour impressions, by the way, this knife is now running even nicer. That's beautiful. Oh, yes. But anyways, my early impressions of the phone itself have been quite good. They've been quite positive. Like I said, there have been some hiccups. There have been some things that are unintuitive, and I'm very lucky to have a good friend who is very happy to kind of help me through the process, who has one of these phones. And, okay, you want this, you want this, you want this. Oh, yeah, for that, you want this. That kind of thing has been very valuable. But for the most part, so far, so good. And a lot of the areas where I've experienced friction and pain have actually been remnants of the Apple world. Right? Like for a while, my wife couldn't send me text messages because Apple kept trying to tell her, no, send an iMessage, he'll get it. And I'm like, no, I won't anymore, you jackasses, because that's not an open interoperable standard. You could fix this, but they haven't. But anyways, so that was an issue at first. And then there were a couple of things where I've noticed like, oh, darn, I'm going to be cut off from that element. And so the shared computing element with my wife is actually going to be reduced some. But at the same time, for the most part, I've been pretty impressed. I've been able to replace everything, and in a few cases, actually, like, for instance, my bank's application, aging, actually works better in the Android side. So right now, very early in the honeymoon, I'm appreciating it. Right now, very early in the honeymoon, also things like fast charging, oh my god, and having a USB port. Like, the fact that I can just plug in my YubiKey two-factor authenticator to the bottom of the phone and use it is revelatory. Like, the fact that Apple still uses the Lightning mess is intensely, intensely frustrating. And yeah, so anyways, I've been very, very impressed with a number of those kinds of things that have gone on so far. I'm going to be very curious to see how I feel about it in the longer run. I'm going to be very curious to see where the pain points were. Because, when I was back in the old days with the, what was it? The Galaxy Nexus was probably the last Android phone I had. But in that day, it felt like the Android phones were great at everything but being phones. But, so far, so good. So anyways, I'm going to keep doing this as an experiment. My wife has placed a kind-hearted bet. This isn't ugly or anything like that, although she is enjoying making fun of my crappy phone at the moment, just because she's very much, well, these days she's an iPhone person. But I converted her, which is, anyways. But she has made a bet with me that within 6 months I will be back on an iPhone with great alacrity. And you know what? She may be right. We'll see. But for the moment, I'm giving it a shot. And, let me know in the comments how you felt about the video quality. Not like the quality of the videos. That's not going to get any better. I'm the same person. But the video quality, the audio quality, etc. And let me know if you've made the switch and, what brought you joy. Give me any tips you wish you knew when you went over to Android. But so far, so good. We'll see what it's like once I get off the honeymoon with it. But for the most part, have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. And I hope that this unfolds well. Have a good one, everybody. Bye now.